Hey guys, it's Will. So 2024 was a year where Rocket Lab had record-breaking revenue, tons of launches, their stock price is up 400%. But what is driving this meteoric rise? Rocket Lab's plans to reshape some of the space industry and how they're standing toe to toe with SpaceX is one of the things we want to look at here into 2025. Let's get into it. Hopefully, you guys are having an amazing day today. I was just watching that video a little while back there. So what you can see here with Rocket Lab stock, we started covering this stock really for a couple months back here. I started investing. I've known about the stock for years. I have a friend that works at Rocket Lab who I was just texting, actually. I was in a conversation with about Rocket Lab. He works in developing and programming some of the hardware that goes into the Rocket Lab tech. And so, as you can see, they were at $3 really just back in April before pushing up to $33, a massive rise. They were consolidating in this zone from $28 down to $22, and it was still kind of rising, but we saw consolidation here for really what was about 2 or 3 months. And this recent move where it was at this support, this was just a few days ago, where in the span of basically 3 days, I believe it had soared 33%, over 30%, just in a matter of 3 days. And now it's at that resistance. It did get rejected here. It tried to retest and got rejected again, still holding above that EMA. So I guess hyperbole case could be that this previous resistance here is going to act as a support. That's the hyperbole case, that it actually holds this new level. You can even see it starting to try and hold right here on this previous resistance. And we start to see Rocket Lab continue its bull run upwards. That would be, kind of this new support, and we'll see if it gets to new levels. And that was a really good move that just happened. So now we saw that the technicals are looking a little overextended. If it holds, that's quite bullish. If you look on the RSI on the MACD, the technicals indicate that we might see it sell down a little bit more before continuing up. I'm not saying it's going to sell down to this previous level. For example, there is a previous resistance here. You can see that consolidation right here that it could also find as a support. But we'll just have to see what happens at market open on Monday. And if you guys want to watch me trade live, be there at market open and surround yourself with other traders, investors, looking at the quantum market, AI, and stock market, or quantum, AI, space tech, and definitely we're going to be diving into some of the stocks impacted by the elections. It's that second link down below, Stockmate. We have an awesome sale there. Make sure to go check it out. So when we look at what Peter Beck was saying, there was a couple things that are very different about this company than other companies and why they actually are potentially going to be right there toe to toe with SpaceX. So if we just kind of jump into Rocket Lab, you guys could see some of the recent news. And one thing to realize about that video with Peter Beck recently, he was saying that this past year was incredible. They had 16 launches, that the revenue growth that they're on track for in quarterly revenue is driven by they're executing really well and that they're innovating. And so, on top of that, the unique position that they have in the space industry is kind of that they're this end to end space company, right? Most companies, they focus on one area. They focus on just batteries, or they focus on satellite building, or they focus on operations. But Rocket Lab, they do it all, even getting contracts related to semiconductors. So that's a customer advantage. So clients can get basically everything from satellite design and operations all under one roof, right? So it's all coming from Rocket Lab. And some people say they're too small, they're not going to compete with SpaceX, but I actually think they're the number one competitor of SpaceX and Blue Origin, and their innovation is much more important than how much capital they have. We've seen that with other companies like Blue Origin. They might have a lot of capital, but they don't even need to worry. They're not going to outspend their competitors, but they are going to continue to innovate. And so what that means, there was a couple articles that came out that were notable. One of the articles here, will Rocket Lab steal another page from the SpaceX playbook? Essentially, SpaceX has this playbook where they actually became profitable recently by offering Starlink. Now, Rocket Lab has some of the pieces of the business model of SpaceX, because they do launches for companies, and they have a payload that they launch into space, looking or containing companies that want to get into space, and they pay Rocket Lab as a result. That's why they're seeing the revenue increase in Rocket Lab. So you do see that they have customers, and they talk a little bit about, are they going to go into the route of having a Starlink type of setup where they have their own internet? And if so, they might even work with AST Space Mobile, which we've talked about. ASTS, been covering them for quite a while. Or are they going to come up with a new type of way to monetize that's not based on the satellite internet or exactly out of SpaceX's playbook? But I think they're already looking at, because right now there's two things that's happening. They're also launching this rocket here, Neutron rocket, that is reusable. And once they get to reusability, now their profits and the net that they actually make is going to go up, because when they get to reusability, they're not going to spend as much to launch their rocket. And there you can see it's expected to fly 3 commercial flights in 2026, then ramp up flight cadence to 5 launches in 2025, and keep growing from there. And they've had this kind of consistent roadmap here. And it doesn't hurt. The size of the global space market is estimated 10 billion, whereas space-based services such as Earth observation communications could reach 320 billion. So why is that important? Well, if we look at some of their other partnerships, some of the ones that were notable, they work with other satellite companies to launch them into space. But there's this other company that does thermal. I'd have to almost search it. I don't even see it. Rocket Lab. You could say thermal. I don't know. Thermal contract. Let's see what it is. There is a company out of Germany, I believe it is. Let's see. German contract. Aurora Tech. There it is. Okay, so they recently signed this contract with this company that is Aurora Technologies, that focuses on wildfire detection. So there's a lot of companies like that, whether it's freight and shipping tracking, or it's Google Earth type of technology. This one is for seeing the thermal activity of the Earth and being able to detect wildfires before they happen. And so that's something they just announced in October 2024. And it says the contract put them on track to deliver the capability to orbit no later than 2025. So they also, because this is the year of the Neutron rocket, this could reshape a lot of their revenue, because if the first launch here is planned mid-2025 with 3 more launches by the year's end, that's going to, if they figure that out and they get the reusability down, that's going to really increase their revenue for working with companies like this. And so on top of that, they have a private mission to Venus, aiming to search for signs of life. One of the quotes they had is, "If life can exist in Venus's clouds, then it's likely prolific throughout the universe." I thought that was cool. But on top of that, they're also one of the companies that was telling basically NASA and the government, hey, we can go to Mars for much cheaper and faster than the current plan to going to Mars. And so you might search that, because they're doing a Mars mission as well. And you can look here. Rocket Lab takes jab at NASA with release of Mars sample return plan. Basically, they said, I think NASA was saying it's going to cost like 15 billion or something like that. And then Rocket Lab comes in and they say, we can do it. See, what was it? What was the mission? It says The option would cost between 6 billion and 7 billion. Um, between 5 billion and 77 or 5 billion and 7 billion, and it would be back by 2035, as late as 2039. Rocket Lab said we could do it in under 4 billion, and we could return samples as early as 2031. So Rocket Lab, getting their hands into the Mars mission, which, as you guys know, if we just say like Mars mission, there is so much talk about this, especially with the new president. We saw this happen. Elon and Trump basically said they're very, very bullish on the mission of going to Mars, and that they're gonna put a man on Mars, or they plan to get to Mars very soon and start really making it happen. So it's going to fuel some of the growth. That could be why we saw that 30% swing on Rocket Lab, and why it might have been a little overreaction, and that we'll see it pull back a little bit, but that the long term looks really good on Rocket Lab. I love to trade this volatility. I find it to be very consistent, especially in these uptrends. When we look at some of the patterns that develop, they're just kind of like staircase patterns, and there's a lot of swings that happen. And so I like the short term and also the long term holding some Rocket Lab. The long term for Rocket Lab looks really good on a lot of this news. The revenue is expected to increase, and that was something we looked at as well. And so one thing, it was financials, Rocket Lab. They've had 55% year over year growth. I mean, that's all I need to tell you. They're really on it right now. So we'll see what happens. What do you guys think about Rocket Lab's strategy? And do you think they're truly going to compete with SpaceX and Blue Origin? I think they're already competing, but let me know in the comments below. And if you guys want more deeper dives on these space tech companies, then make sure to let me know. If you like it, like the video, if I earned it. If you guys would like to see if any opportunities present themselves at market open for trading some of these space tech, we're going to trade some quantum, AI, and some of these stocks here that are impacted by some of the political changes, then I would encourage you guys, check out that second link down below. We're introducing this new sale where you may have to do a lot more to earn a discount. Screenshots, taking a photo of your account, and then we send you the discount for you to enroll. But right now there's no strings attached. You can get the discount. Second link down below to join Stockmate and join us live at our market open session on Monday. So appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If I earned your thumbs up, hit that like button. Do consider subscribing again, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.